please help me welcome to the stage Trevor Churchman.
I carry so much weight that you'll probably never believe it. I fade, I fall, stand tall. Some dream of greatness while others stay awake.
Thank you. Real quick, can we thank Che and Sean for amazing warm-up? And Carrie and Senate for putting this all together. All of our speakers, Jennifer, Mr. Milet. I am extremely grateful to be here, and I feel a little out of my depth, to be quite honest. I am not an entrepreneur. From that warm invitation and warm-up that I got from Sean, I'll go a little bit about myself so you know why this dude's standing in front of you. So we'll get to this. The reason this picture isn't just because it's aesthetically pleasing. I took this picture on a run, and it was one of those moments on a run that are kind of pivotal. Anybody here a runner? There's my people. These are my people. My man, all right. And it becomes a theme, right? Like everybody today has mentioned running somehow. It is kind of central to who I am. It wasn't always. I kind of, no pun intended, stumbled into it. And then one day I was like, I wonder how long I could go every day, right? Used to be 80 pounds heavier, hated running. Was literally required by federal law from the Army that I had to run, so that's why I did. It's because I didn't want to go to Leavenworth. And so I started one day, and I was like, you know what? I'm kind of OCD about numbers and not great at counting, so we'll make it easy. So I started on January 1st, and that was 4,128 days ago today. I have not missed a day. Thank you. Well, bear in mind, some of those days were just a mile. Some of them were, 30 or 40. But every day, I grant myself a view like this, right? And not every day is the Deschutes River. Anybody here from Jerome? My people. All right. So that is where I run the most, is my hometown. Because like the trees in that picture, I have roots there. It is my happy place, which is weird, because growing up, I was like, I'm out. And then I moved the least amount of distance after graduating high school than anybody I know, because I bought my grandparents' house, and I lived where I lived. So I run Jerome. And I get asked, is it like you run the same every day? It's got to get monotonous, and it's not. It is beautiful. Because I've run there so many days, and I grew up there. And now I can tell I'm getting old because now I'm the guy that's like, that used to be a field. Right? And I see the subtle differences because it's my home. So I can tell you on Tiger Drive, part of a fence fell down a few days ago because I run past that fence every day. And it's not monotony if it's something you love. And being a part of this illustrates that beauty, that whoever lives by where I took this picture gets that view every day, right? And they can choose to bask in that beauty every day. Or they can choose to be like, yeah, it's not that pretty anymore. I see those trees and those rocks every day. You're going to hear about intention today. You're going to hear about all these beautiful concepts of finding that 10%. And for me, this is where I find it. And it doesn't matter if it looks like that, or if it's East Main Street, Jerome Ring by the Stinker Station that I remember being a fast food joint when I was 4 years old. I run with that because that's the grace that I allow myself. We're going to meet some extraordinary people today. And looking out, I see extraordinary people in front of me. But don't forget to find that in yourself. No one here is perfect. Everyone has had moments where they've been broken. And maybe you still do. Because of the kindness and indulgence of Carrie and Senate, I got to go to the VIP thing last night, and I'm chatting with a guy, and he's like, oh, you like running? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, me too. And we started talking about times, because that's what runners do. And I'm like, oh, how far have you run? How fast do you run? And then I found myself sitting across the table from a 4-time Olympian who's like, oh yeah, when I was 10 years older, I was running a 5-minute mile. I was like, son of a bitch. I gotta start working a lot harder. Like, that's just happened to me yesterday. I didn't seek out. If you told me yesterday morning when I got up, hey, you're gonna meet Henry Marsh, fourth Olympian runner, who ran a sub 4-minute mile, which where are my runners at? Can you fathom that? And not just the speed, but the work that goes into it. And I got to, this is part of my day yesterday, it was Monday. That's what every one of our days is like. Every day that we wake up, we can see that. We can meet a Henry Marsh. We can have pivotal, life-changing moments just walking around. Those moments in your life don't have to be something that you seek out. It doesn't have to plan it 6 months in advance. You just have to be open to the idea that every day, your life is going to change. And every day, you're going to have the potential to change someone else's life. So, oh, good, I hit the right button. I'll be damned. All right, that is an ironic picture that my daughter took because I was being sarcastic because they said they needed a headshot. I wanted to be glamorous. All right, so a little backstory. So I am a nurse, and it is in my soul. Funny story, right? My wife is here. Babe, out here. This is where my mother pinned my RN on me when I graduated from nursing school in this college. Right here. I got goosebumps because nursing is a huge part of who I am, and I love it. I am not an entrepreneur, I'm not a business leader, but I can tell you I am somebody who goes to work every day adoring what they do. I am happy I don't work. Like, they don't know that they don't have to pay me to do it, and I'm not going to tell them that. But I absolutely love what I do, and I say every day, I have the best job in the world. I'm the luckiest guy in the room because I have days off, and then I have days where I get to go feel magical. And that's not just because of my job, it's because I worked and live with and am surrounded by people who are able to remind me, like, I have this incredible opportunity over and over and over and over again. And that's what I'd like to talk to you about a little bit today. Before I was a nurse, because I came to it late in life, I started nursing school at 31. My grandmother told me when I was 17, I should go into nursing. I was like, well, stupid. And get bossed around by doctors all day. I had no idea what I was talking about, which I've spent much of my life profiting from not knowing what I'm talking about. But it's a family tradition, because my mother also did the same thing, went into nursing at 40. And sometimes I'm like, I can spend that time lamenting, like, man, this is the best job in the world. Why wasn't I doing this 15 years earlier? And I think it wasn't right for me then. I don't know if I'd have been mature enough at 20 years old to make it through nursing school. And any nurses in the room? Yeah, how fun is nursing school? Right? And that's where you lay the foundation. And I complained the whole way through, just like every other nursing student. And I'm grateful for nursing school because when I showed up my first day as a nurse, like, all right, you're a nurse. I was like, oh, you guys think I know what I'm doing? That's unfortunate, okay. And that's where I relied on the people around me. And that's where I really first started getting this glimpse that you kind of see in clinicals going through school is, I will never stop learning in this job. Which is translated beautifully into life, because I think anytime you decide, I've learned enough, I'm good, that's when the decline starts. I've taken care of a 95-year-old woman who got a hip replacement because she wanted to go jogging, and I was like, that's okay, let's talk about reasonable expectations. But she could, because she just kept moving forward. She's probably 130 years old now, because she just kept moving forward. And I learned from that patient, like, these limits that were provided, these expectations aren't real. They're just these things that we accept, right? 31-year-old guys don't go into nursing. I mean, and I heard that. Prior to that, I was in the Idaho Army National Guard. I deployed to Iraq, actually. Came into that later in life. I've been lazy my whole life. I've procrastinated. It's been great. I enlisted when I was 27 years old. Before family got to watch me go through basic like an 18-year-old kid. But it's that progress, that journey. So spending a year in Iraq, I got to see this huge array of leadership. Got to meet General Austin, who went on to become the Secretary of Defense. When I was there, I was a specialist in E4. So on the very bottom, but I could see it from where I was standing. But to this day, I think E4 is the best rank in the Army. I loved it. I got a little taste of leadership, but I didn't actually have all that much responsibility because I wasn't a grown-up yet. When I got back, I got promoted to E5, which is sergeant, and that was an incredible experience. To be able to watch people succeed, I think, was one of the turning points in my life, because I got to watch my Joes learn from my mistakes or benefit from what I had gone through, and I got to help them be better. Because the idea is you teach your job to the person below you, and you learn the person the job above you, right? And I think that translates beautifully into any area. You are training the next person to take your spot. And you damn well better be teaching them to do a good job, because that's your name on it, right? That's what legacy is about. All right, so I'm going to bore you a little bit because I want to get into this headspace of leaders, right? Because when everybody picture that leader in your mind that had a moment in your life that was pivotal, good or bad, because we learn from both, right? And that's the important thing is, who do you want to emulate? Okay, so some of the roles I've had to be, I'll tell the story of the guys on the left. That was the team I was at in Iraq, and not everybody in that picture is still alive, but they all live right here. And the gentleman on the far left and the gentleman on the far right, the gentleman on the left is a lieutenant colonel, the guy on the right is a command sergeant major. And the reason that's important is because we were working on a checkpoint and it was hot. It's like 128 degrees during the day. We didn't, like me and my guys, we were at a checkpoint, man. Like nobody's making a movie about standing at a checkpoint sweating and drinking way too many monsters. But the guys on the left and right were kind of big deals. They're both in charge of special operations groups. They were the real deal. And they came through one night. It's like 3 a.m. They obviously just came off mission. They're dirty, they're tired, they're in full kit, which means full body armor, weapons. They are exhausted. And they're like, do you guys need anything? And I mean, we were E5 and below. We're like, I don't know, tomorrow if someone wants to drop off some Gatorade, that'd be cool. And they went back into their compound, and we went about our business, standing in front of a gate. And like half an hour later, a Humvee comes rolling up out of the dark, and we're like, who the hell is this? And it was those guys, bringing us Gatorade. They just come off like a 36-hour mission. They were exhausted. God only knows what they had been seeing in those 36 hours, but they stopped to take care of us, getting us Gatorade because they thought we needed it, because that's the kind of leaders they were. Which is why every guy I know who worked for them or with them would have gone through any door, because they never did a single thing without thinking of their guys first. They expect us to stand in the heat. They stood in the heat. When they asked, do you need something? They meant it. I think there's a lot of time that we reach out to each other, especially like work, right? Like, hey, you good? Yeah, you're good. And we answer the same way. Are you good? Yeah, I'm good. Because it's this automated response and question, right? I'm checking on you. You're going to answer you're good. We're going to go about our day because that's what we do. If you are a leader or you are working with people who are colleagues, be the voice that says, no, I'm not good. No, I need some help. Or if you're that leader, you stop. You don't walk by, you good? You stop. Hey, what do you need? Are you okay? Don't tell me you're good because you want me to think you're good, because I'm your leader and that's what are the dynamic of our relationship. Our conversations should be meaningful if your leadership is going to be meaningful. And if you're not in a leadership position, one of the biggest lessons I learned on the left was to speak up. So I get this PowerPoint. I've been working on the speech for a while. And going to the VIP meeting last night, it struck me, being around people like Jennifer Moss and Jay, these guys, we talk about being authentic and honest and vulnerable. And I think that's how growth is made, right? So, we're going to be open. The guy in the bottom right, his name is Sergeant Corey Huntsman. And Corey has been dead for 13 years and 6 months. Because I asked him, are you good? And I just assumed when he said, yeah, I'm fine, that he was fine. And Corey was not fine. And some of my best memories are with those guys. And if I had been the leader that I wanted to be, I would have listened closer, or I would have asked again. And I learned, be sincere. Don't look for, yeah, I'm okay. Look for the subtleties. Take the time to know your people and know yourself enough to recognize maybe something's off, or maybe I just want to take an extra 5 minutes and talk to somebody and make sure they're good. Because leadership isn't just about increasing profit or reducing turnover. It's about changing lives and potentially saving them. My career field is filled with people who go into the job wanting to help people. That's why I do what I do. I am a cliche, and I am totally good with it, because when I say, I went to nursing because I want to help people, I do. I'm a very simple creature because I just want to make someone's day a little better. And I get some extraordinary opportunities to do that. And Corey was the sweetest, nicest dude in the world. He was a man-child. And he turned 21 in Kuwait, which, anybody been to Kuwait? All right, what's the funnest thing to do in Kuwait? Leave. It's hot, it's full of sand and camels that sergeant majors yell at if you point guns at. That's where he turned 21. He's a lot younger than me, and he was one of my best friends. And I won't sidetrack because I can tell Corey stories, but the guys in that picture all learned together, and everybody in there was a leader, regardless of their rank, because they took care of each other. And I won't go so far as to say that we failed Corey, but I will say that maybe we could have done a little better. And I will never, ever not want to do a little bit better. And that's the opportunities we get, right? Like I was saying, the field I'm in, I'm surrounded by people that when they went through nursing school, it was, I want to help people. For the most part. And sometimes it wears away. Like those soft edges get worn off. I have been lucky that I have not. Like I said, I'm simple. When I make somebody happy, I'm happy. It's not because I'm altruistic, it's because I found a way to take the damaged parts and use them to my own advantage. Because like I said, nobody in here is perfect. And so I found out that, especially after losing Corey, that I want to help people. And that I get immediate gratification. Like I am immediately rewarded by getting to hold someone's hand and make their day better. So In the middle, I got the opportunity from being a nurse to join the Special Operations Rescue Team, which is not necessarily defined by a very concrete rank structure. This is a group of people who have a common goal, and that common goal is our rank structure. We have this solidified idea that someone is hurt and they need help. And everybody there has a little ego, and it all falls away as soon as tones go off because nobody can do it alone. On the right, as I was saying right about this spot, is I got to work in an ER with my mother, which is a very special thing. And she's also one of the fiercest leaders that I've ever seen in my life. She was terrifying. And I am where I am largely because of her. The bottom middle, when I was 21 years old, I was looking for a job. My mom was an EMT, her husband was a cop. I'd kind of grown up in emergency services and nursing, and I was like, you need to figure out what you're doing. Because I believe I had the distinguished career of working at a Quiznos at the time. And I was like, all right. And I got an offer like, hey, do you want to be a police officer? This police department's looking for people. I know a guy who knows a guy. And the application for a police officer was like this thick. And the application for a 911 dispatcher was like this thick. So again, procrastinating as I've turned into an art form, I applied to become a 911 dispatcher. And that was my first headlong dive into the importance of true leadership and seeing what happens when you have an effective team under pressure. Any 911 dispatchers here? Hell yeah. I've been a nurse for 10 years next month. I've worked on a rescue team. I work on the ambulance. Being a 911 dispatcher is emotionally the hardest job I've ever had in my life, hands down. When I'm working on the ambulance, I get to take people to the ER. When I'm working in the ER, I get to take them to the ICU. When I work in the ICU, I either get to discharge them home or I move to I know what happened. When I was a 911 dispatcher, and for these guys that are here, they don't. They hang up the phone, they hope for the best because somebody got there. So imagine over and over being there for someone's worst moment and not knowing how it turned out. So, huge amount of respect. All right. Okay, again, make it boring. Whew. That is Florence Nightingale. Anybody familiar? Okay. I don't want to nerd out, but I'm going to nerd out a little bit. Florence Nightingale is one of the most amazing human beings in the world. She started out as a statistician in the 1800s. Imagine the challenge of just being a woman in the 1800s. She also spoke 3 languages, including Latin. I have a job because of her. My car's named Florence. It's kind of a big deal. Yeah. I won't bore you too much. I got a couple examples, but the point that I'm getting to with all this is the concept of immortality through inspiration. Everyone is going to die. But we all have this potential to live on. I put up a few examples because they're the ones that touched me. I'm going to go through them real quick because I hate death by PowerPoint. But Florence Nightingale, for me, strikes home immediately because she came up with these cool concepts like, hey man, you should wash your hands. That actually is a thing. And she did that because she was a statistician. She volunteered as a nurse. She saw infection, which at the time was a very controversial notion. And COVID was bad. Imagine having arguments about maybe don't take your hands out of that guy and put them in that guy. Florence Nightingale developed that. Statistically, she was able to prove measurably that death rates went down, people improved better. And this is at a time when hospital care was like you just go home with your family. And hopefully grandma knows some stuff. We'll cut it off maybe. She developed and pioneered, not only that, she opened the first nursing school, which again, thank you, allows me to have a job. So even people who don't know her name are benefiting from her life. If you've ever been hospitalized, you are benefiting because she pioneered that, right? You don't have to know who Florence Nightingale is to know that getting MRSA is bad. So that's the concept that we're going to touch on a little bit today, is the fact that we can all live on so much further than we realize by touching the lives of those around us. It's General Patton. I was in the cavalry, so I was federally required to learn about General Patton. He also demonstrates the important point that you can be flawed and still be an amazing human being. I think anybody that worked under General George S. Patton knows he could be somewhat temperamental, but he also helped win World War II. I won't go into World War II history, even though I'm a nerd about it, but he was a deeply flawed person. He was also an extraordinary person. He also was wildly influential on how tank battles are conducted and military strategy. You don't have to like him, but as a guy that was a cavalry scout, had to watch out for tanks, I appreciate his efforts, and he helped win World War II. I'm just saying. I mean, it's there. I can't grow a beard that thick, but nor am I that tall. Nor am I a fan of the theater nearly as much because of him, but another flawed human being who turned a broken past into this future and this legacy that we still talk about 160 years later. That guy grew up famously in a log cabin and was, by reputation, a hell of a wrestler. What's the difference between that kid and my kid? Other than he's taller. Riley's probably not gonna get that tall, but we all have that same potential, right? We have that same potential to live on and do things, maybe not the Emancipation Proclamation, but why not? Who here is in a leadership position? Okay. Why can't you inspire? Why can't you change people's lives? Why can't you set precedents that will live on long after you retire? Is anybody working in a business that pre-exists them? They joined an organization that was already established. Okay. So are you benefiting and living from the ideas of someone that came before you? Good or bad, you're living under that. You have no choice. The way you do your job and you live your life is going to touch people downstream. The river from my very first slide, that is us. We are unstoppable as human beings. You need to decide the course, the influence, the legacy that you are instilling downstream from you. Because it's not an if. Like when you go to work tomorrow as a leader, you are influencing everybody that works there. The way you behave, what you model, the way you treat your people, the way you treat yourself. In addition to being a very talented procrastinist, I am also wildly successful at hypocrisy. I get younger nurses and my peers, I'm like, you need to take care of yourself. You need to have work-life balance. As a new grad, remain curious, but remember, your job doesn't necessarily define you. And they're like, is that what you do? I'm like, whoa, we're talking about you. And that's something to keep in mind, right? Am I modeling the behavior that I want to instill? And you're going to fail at that sometimes, and that's okay too, because that's just one more opportunity. I failed today at modeling this behavior, right? But tomorrow, I get to model how I bounce back from that. Do I admit I was wrong? Do I acknowledge, I can do better, I can grow? Or do I hunker down and stubbornly be like, no, you do it? Okay, this picture's on there simply because I wanted to demonstrate how stupid AI is. So I was looking at pictures, obviously stealing it of Abraham Lincoln. A I do not think he signed the Gettysburg Address in New York with, I assume, General Grant. I don't know, but it just came up and it made me laugh because it demonstrates that we're becoming more and more progressively dependent on AI. And it's kind of cool. Like, I can make pictures like this, but they're still widely inaccurate. So, be authentic. Don't take the shortcut. Double check your work and make sure you're modeling good behavior. Do I have any Marines in the audience? No Marines. Okay, I could tell because they didn't stand up and immediately salute. That's Chesty Puller. That's the most famous Marine in U.S. history. That killed more people than smallpox. Second most decorated Marine in U.S. history, and a hell of a leader. To this day, I think he retired in 1972, and to this day at Marine Corps basic training, they still, when they're doing pull-ups or push-ups, one more for Chesty. That's the kind of leadership that you want to inspire, is that it lives on. Because I guarantee there are Marines or kids that don't know this picture, but still know the reverence. Because he led from the front. He did what those guys in the beginning did. He never asked anything of his Marines that he wouldn't do himself. And that's what we get to do when we make those mistakes. I want the people that I get to influence to feel comfortable and safe saying, I think I can do better. Or, I made a mistake. Or, I want to be a leader. Does anybody have anybody working with them or for them that shows up every day hating their job? This place sucks. This job sucks. And they've been showing up there for like 20 years. And you're like, man, I feel like you had the opportunity by now to find something. Yeah. So when we think of this sucks, we need to define that for ourselves. So I was with the Army, so because I had Chesty Puller up there and he's a legend, I have to have Master Sergeant Roy Benavidez. If you don't know who Master Sergeant Roy Benavidez is, like, I'm not above having a man crush, dude. The first time that guy got deployed to Vietnam, he stepped on a landmine and it nearly paralyzed him. Using his elbows and his chin, he taught himself to walk again, returned to 5th Special Forces Group, and in a battle sustained 37 shrapnel, stab, or bullet wounds. Made it back. They were zipping up the body bag, and the way he let them know that he was still alive because he was so injured is he spit in the doc's face. I love that man. And he spent the rest of his life and his career mentoring young soldiers. If you ever get a chance, look up Roy Benavidez, because not only is he famously tough, he was famously kind. He was patient with younger soldiers. He never promoted beyond a master sergeant, which is incredibly rare for a guy that's got a Medal of Honor hanging around his neck, because he never pursued the career portion. He writes in his book that he's just happy taking care of soldiers. Now picture how many soldiers came up under his tutelage that went on to save so many people and commit acts of such bravery and selflessness that all carry a little bit of Roy Benavidez with them. If anybody can say this job sucks, it was probably Roy Benavidez. Again, 37 times. That's a big deal. And he never complained. But we all work with people, and I've been the guy who showed up and I was like, this job is stupid. My boss is stupid. Leadership's stupid. But were they, or was I just looking for the negative, man? Because I know there are people that I worked with and still do on occasion. I work with very talented nurses that are pissed off every day that they're a nurse. And it boggles my mind. And I got to tell them, man, we're the luckiest people in the world, right? Like, we get paid a pretty good wage. And every day that I walk out of the hospital, I know that I had the opportunity to change someone's life or help them. And I won't be so arrogant as to say that I change someone's life every day. But I have the opportunity. The job that I'm allowed to have grants me the opportunity to be better. Who has been in an ER? And if you're not comfortable disclosing, that's fine, but who's been a patient in an ER? Do you have to wait a long time? Right, call lights take a while. Everybody's pissed off because nobody feels good, because nobody shows up to the ER on their best day. I adore working in an ER because, again, I feed off opportunity. I love the ability to go in, like, hi, my name's Trevor, I'm one of your nurses, how can I help? And most of the time, it's, hey man, I'm hurting, or I want a warm blanket, or they're vomiting, which is awesome. But I get to help, right? Like, being in an ER sucks. So the important thing is to remember, I am showing up on their worst day. I might be having a great day. I wake up to a beautiful wife, wonderful children. I get to go for a run every day. I have this job that I love. Like, I got some shit that's going my way. And I'm going to walk into a room where somebody who maybe has been struggling with something for years is miserable and they're hurting. And they've been waiting 20 minutes because they hit their call light. Nobody came because somebody is in cardiac arrest 2 doors down that we're working on. And if I go into that room with the mentation of, I'm having a great day, I don't know why you're so bitchy. Like, is that a reasonable expectation? No. They didn't, like, I didn't invite them to the ER, I didn't make them come there. They're there because they're hurting. Which brings up one of my points is empathy. I don't think there's any aspect of our life that we cannot apply some empathy to and benefit from. And it costs nothing. You know, when Che asked for our 5, that's the first one that came to mind is empathy. Not because I'm like a super empathetic, kind Mr. Rogers person. It's because I want people to feel bad, because I'm little and sometimes I'm tired and I don't like my job. And I like to know that sometimes it's okay to not be okay. And if I expect that from people, I've got to afford that to people too, right? Comes back to that hypocrisy thing that I'm so good at, which is to lecture patients like, hey, you need to take better care of yourself. Like maybe, God forbid, go for a run once in a while, or do a sit-up. Maybe don't eat 5 cheeseburgers a day. Which is fine, because, I mean, I'm pretty fortunate, but it's not just heart attacks and broken legs and diabetes that come in the door. And one of the life-changing patients that I had was a young woman who was in for mental health reasons. And she's a wonderful person, she's very sick. And mental health has this huge stigma that it's not the same, right? Like, that's a psych patient. I'm going to humbly stand in front of you as a nurse and an EMT and implore you. Mental health is a real thing, and it is every bit as serious as any other medical malady, problem, or consideration. Thank you. And I sat in front of this woman, and I like taking care of psych patients. I get voluntold a lot, like, hey, there's a naked guy who wants to fight everybody, why don't you go talk to him? I'm like, sweet. All right, male nurse. I sat with this woman, I'm like, hey, we're gonna get you some help. I'm glad you're here, but I want you to, really think beyond the ER is not good at curing things. We're good at maybe patching things up, but you need to take care of yourself, and you deserve to be taken care of. So make sure that you're getting some counseling or seeing the people you need to see and allowing yourself the support that you need. And she's like, do you do that? And I was like, oh, you dick. And I made an appointment to go get counseling the next day because, man, if I'm going to tell somebody else they got to do this, and I want to be a leader, and I want to carry on the legacy of people like Sergeant Corey Huntsman, I got to kind of put my money where my mouth is. And it was life-changing. And then it baffles me how long I went taking care of people, not being willing to do the same for myself. Because then we talk about that downstream thing, right? Anybody here work a lot? Like, okay. And it tires you out, right, man? And you get tired, and then you're like, it's okay. I'm making money. My kids are going to Disneyland. And, I'm putting in the hours I need to put in. Because that's me. I work a lot, and I love it. I get 2 jobs, start a new one tomorrow. Like, again, flagrant hypocrisy. But modeling that behavior is, are you teaching your employees, your coworkers, and your family to take care of themselves? Because if you want anybody in your team to perform well, you want them well-rested, motivated, and optimistic, right? So are you showing up every day burned out, pissed off, tired, and then expecting them to do better than you? Yeah. Okay. AI, that is the ghosts of those people. Because the point is they live on after they die. And that's kind of the point that I'm making is everything that you do is going to carry on downstream from you. And you are standing in the rushing, raging waters of the people who came before you and the people that you surround yourself with. That's Alexander the Great and JFK. I was trying to look for something that showed this continuity, right? Alexander the Great was this famous conqueror, ruled half the world, and those concepts live on. They float downstream like leaves in that river that I was telling you about. And they land with people like John F. Kennedy, who I think is one of the most revered presidents. I'm going to stay out of politics today because I want to live. But it's just like, what is yours, man? Life is so short. Thank you. All right. So we are going to die. That's John Wayne's birthday, by the way, because John Wayne Mark. But the point of the whole eternity thing is you are going to touch the lives of the people around you, and they're going to touch the lives of people around them, and their kids are going to learn habits from them that maybe they got from you. There is no possible way that you are truly going to fade and disappear. Your name may not live on. Not everybody here gets to live on like John Wayne and Alexander the Great. But damn it, you get to pass on like DNA who you are, good and bad. So we need to be mindful of that. I want you to be who you want to be, because I do what I want. You decide what you pass on. You decide who you are to the people around you. Be authentic. Be you. But damn it, be willing to change if you need to. Okay. These are my kids. And the reason I put up there isn't just for the Oz, because I got some cute kids. It's been important to me to be a good dad. So again, authentic, genuine, we're being vulnerable, right? We're all friends here now. Okay, so my experience learning like the model behavior. So if I took after my dad, which I kind of did because I became a runner, is he bailed quick. Like, when I was like, we're having a baby, he's like, you're having a baby. So when I got the opportunity to be a dad, I was like, I feel like the bar's been set pretty low. I think I can do better. And then I spent all this time looking for these high spots, right? Like these big picture moments, like I want to take my kids to Disneyland, and I want to have all these huge moments in their lives that they're going to remember that I didn't have, like father-son picnics. I want to show up to these things. And for the longest time, I kept forgetting that it's not the Disneyland moments that make them. It's every day. It's not the great big moments, it's the little ones, right? On the bottom left is my daughter. I have a picture of us drawing at a TV table, like a little TV tray when she was like 2. She's now an independent graphic artist that makes more money than me drawing all day, which is infuriating. I've never been more proud in my life. She is brilliant, and she's riddled with tattoos. Top left, that is my oldest son, Tyler. He's now a staff sergeant and is an incredible human being and probably one of the kindest, nicest men you'll ever meet. It's my son, Riley, on the top right, and he is infuriatingly just like his father. It's horrible. And all of these kids, I had plans of how I was going to influence them and be the best thing and have all these huge moments. And as I see them grow, it was none of those big moments. Like these grandiose gestures didn't really count to shit. It's what they saw every day. Tyler saw me coming home from in uniform. Cindy saw me drawing. Riley saw me be sarcastic and procrastinate. And they all really adapted to it. I'm almost out of time, but I just want to share a couple things with you. I am extremely fortunate in that I get to touch people's lives. I am a nurse, and I'm a dad, and I'm an EMT, and I'm a runner, and I volunteer with things, and I could go on and on about how lucky I am. I also watch people die. I have held the hands of people as they passed away. I have hugged family members as they're asking me to save someone's life who is well beyond my limited means. And every single time is an honor. And every single time is a privilege. It touches my heart. And I am not special, because every one of you get to do that every day. Every one of you get to touch someone's soul by holding a door open or telling someone, you did a good job today, man. Every single day, you get to be in the best chapter in someone's book. So please enjoy that ride down that river. Enjoy passing on your legacy, and just know that you are touching people's lives every single moment. Thank you.